Something is happening to your XRP right now, and the reason for it has nothing to do with Ripple, nothing to do with the SEC, nothing to do with the Clarity Act, nothing to do with Goldman Sachs or Deutsche Bank or the $13 trillion opportunity. It has to do with one man, one decision, and one word: tariffs. Donald Trump just announced a sweeping new round of tariffs on global trade partners. And the crypto market is reacting exactly the way it has reacted every single time Trump has made a major tariff announcement in the past 2 years. It is selling off, hard, fast, across the board. XRP is down almost 5% in the last 24 hours. It is now trading at $1.28. The fear and greed index for the entire crypto market has collapsed to 11. That is deep inside extreme fear territory. XRP active addresses on the XRP Ledger dropped 42% in a single day. Institutional money is moving to safety. And right now, across X, across Reddit, across every crypto community in the world, XRP holders are asking the same question: is Trump destroying my investment? I am going to answer that question today. Completely, honestly, with the real data behind what Trump tariffs actually do to XRP. And I'm going to tell you specifically what you should do right now, based on everything I know about this situation. Stay with me. The next 12 minutes might be the most important thing you watch today. Step 1. What Trump tariffs actually are and why they hit crypto immediately. Let me make sure everyone watching understands exactly what is happening before we talk about XRP specifically. Donald Trump has imposed a new round of tariffs on America's major trading partners. Tariffs are taxes on imported goods. When America puts a tariff on Chinese products become more expensive for American buyers. When America puts a tariff on European goods become more expensive. This is Trump's tool for trying to protect American manufacturing and reduce trade deficits. But here is the problem. Tariffs do not just affect the price of physical goods. They create fear. They create uncertainty. They create the possibility of retaliation from other countries. They create the risk of a global trade war where multiple countries raise tariffs against each other simultaneously. And when global financial markets smell that kind of uncertainty, they do one specific thing. They sell risky assets. Fast. Crypto is considered a risky asset. It is at the far end of the risk spectrum. When institutional investors and large funds feel uncertain about the global economy, they do not want to hold risky assets. They want cash, they want government bonds, they want gold. Assets that hold value during uncertainty. So they sell their crypto. All of it. Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, and yes, XRP. This is not about XRP specifically. This is about the entire risk asset universe selling off at the same time. And XRP is one of the most volatile assets in that universe. When the market sells off, XRP tends to fall harder than most things. This has happened before. Every time Trump has made a major tariff announcement in the last 2 years, the crypto market has reacted with sharp immediate drops. When Trump imposed tariffs on Canada and Mexico early last year, XRP fell 33% in a matter of days. When Trump threatened Chinese tariffs, XRP dropped 17% in 24 hours. Today's pattern is the same pattern. Different day, same mechanism. Step 2. The specific number that tells you how serious today's situation is. Let me show you the data that gives you the clearest picture of where XRP stands right now. Fear and Greed Index. 11. That is the current reading for the entire crypto market. 11 out of 100. The scale goes from 0, which is maximum fear, to 100, which is maximum greed. 11 means the market is closer to maximum fear than it has been for most of 2026. Why does this matter for XRP specifically? Because historically, extreme fear readings below 15 have represented some of the best buying opportunities in XRP's entire history. Not guaranteed, but historically. Every time the Fear and Greed Index has dropped below 15 in the past 3 years, XRP has recovered significantly within 90 days in the majority of cases. The investors who made the most money from XRP in previous cycles did not buy when everything looked good and prices were rising. They bought when the fear and greed index was reading extreme fear and everyone around them was panicking. Right now, it is reading 11. Now, I want to be very careful here. I am not telling you to buy XRP right now. That would be financial advice, and that is not what this channel provides. What I am telling you is that the historical pattern of extreme fear readings in crypto markets has consistently preceded recoveries. Whether this time is different depends on how long the tariff situation lasts and whether the trade war escalates further. But understanding that context, understanding that today's panic is driven by a macro event rather than XRP-specific bad news, changes how you should think about what you are seeing on your screen right now. Step 3. Why XRP specifically is both hurt and potentially helped by tariffs. Here is the counterintuitive part of this story, the part that nobody else is explaining right now, the part that rewards you for staying through step 3. Trump tariffs hurt XRP in the short term. We have established that. Risky assets sell off. XRP falls harder than average. Fear dominates. That is happening today. But tariffs may actually help XRP in the medium to long term. And here's specifically why. When countries impose tariffs on each other, international trade becomes more complicated and more expensive. When American tariffs make Chinese goods more expensive, Chinese companies that want to sell to American buyers have a problem. They need to find ways to reduce their costs elsewhere, including the cost of cross-border payments. The traditional international payment system is slow and expensive. A payment from China to America through the traditional banking system can take days and cost significant fees. In a world where every dollar of margin matters because of tariffs, businesses have a strong incentive to find cheaper and faster ways to move money internationally. XRP is specifically designed for exactly this use case. Fast, cheap, cross-border money movement. If tariffs make international trade more financially painful, the incentive for businesses and banks to adopt faster, cheaper payment rails like XRP's on-demand liquidity grows. Ripple itself identified this opportunity. Their research analysts noted that if trade between countries becomes trickier due to tariffs, XRP may stand out thanks to its role in international payments. So here is the complete, honest picture. Today, this week, this month, tariffs hurt XRP price because fear dominates and risky assets sell off. Over the next 6 to 12 months, if tariff-driven trade complications push banks and businesses toward cheaper payment rails, XRP's fundamental use case becomes more valuable, not less. The short term and the long term are pointing in opposite directions. Understanding which time frame you are investing in determines how today's news should affect your decisions. Step 4. What happened last time Trump tariffs crashed XRP and how it recovered? Let me show you the historical pattern, because it is the most important context you can have right now. Early 2025, Trump announced sweeping tariffs on Canada and Mexico. XRP fell 33% in a matter of days. The crypto community panicked. Everyone was asking if XRP was finished. What happened next? XRP recovered, and then it went on to hit its all-time high of $3.65 in July 2025. From the tariff-driven low of the early 2025 crash to the all-time high in July 2025, XRP gained approximately 180%. 180% in the months after a major Trump tariff crash. Now, I am absolutely not telling you that history will repeat exactly. Every market situation is different. The current macro environment with the US-Iran conflict and the ongoing trade war is more complex than early 2025. The fear levels are different. The institutional landscape is different. But what this historical pattern tells you is important. Trump tariff crashes have not historically been the end of XRP's story. They have historically been sharp, violent interruptions in a longer trend. And the investors who panicked and sold at the bottom of those crashes were the ones who missed the recovery. The question you need to answer for yourself is simple. Do you believe in XRP's long-term thesis? Is the fundamental story of XRP as a cross-border payment asset still intact despite today's tariff-driven price drop? If yes, today's extreme fear reading might be something to use rather than fear. If you have doubts about the long-term thesis, this moment of clarity during a panic is a good time to examine those doubts honestly. Step 5. The two things that could make this tariff crash worse and the two things that could end it quickly. Let me give you the specific scenarios to watch because not all tariff situations are equal. Some resolve quickly. Some escalate into full-blown trade wars that last months. Two things that could make this worse. First, Chinese retaliation. If China responds to Trump's tariffs with their own tariffs on American goods, the trade war escalates. When trade wars escalate, they create deeper and longer-lasting fear in markets. XRP could fall further and stay lower for longer if this scenario plays out. Second, Federal Reserve response. If tariffs push inflation higher, the Fed faces the same impossible situation I described in my video 2 weeks ago. Raise rates to fight inflation and hurt the economy, or cut rates to support growth and let inflation rise. Neither option is good for crypto. A Fed that signals tighter policy in response to tariff-driven inflation would be deeply negative for XRP in the near term. Two things that could end this quickly. First, trade negotiation. If any of America's major trading partners immediately negotiate with Trump, and he walks back some of the tariffs, markets rally extremely fast. This happened when Trump paused tariffs on Mexico early last year, and crypto surged within hours. Second, April 8th, 5 days from today. The SEC remedies brief for Ripple's final case settlement is due on April 8th. If that brief contains a modest, reasonable penalty, it will be a XRP-specific positive catalyst that could partially counteract the macro negative of tariffs. XRP-specific good news hitting during a tariff-driven market panic has historically created significant price bounces. Watch those four things. Trade negotiation news and the Fed are the macro signals. April 8th SEC remedies brief is the XRP-specific signal. Between those four factors, you will know within the next week whether this crash deepens or reverses. Step 6. What you should actually do right now. You came to this video because you are worried about your XRP, and you deserve a direct, honest answer about what to do. Here is that answer. Do not make panicked decisions based on a 48-hour price move driven by a macro event that has nothing to do with XRP's specific fundamentals. This is rule 1 of any rational investing approach. Panic selling at the bottom of tariff-driven crashes has historically been the worst possible decision XRP holders could make. If you already hold XRP and you believe in the long-term thesis, today's drop is painful, but it is not caused by anything that changes XRP's fundamental story. Ripple still has its trust bank authority. The $13 trillion Ripple Treasury opportunity is still there. The Clarity Act is still coming. The DTCC integration is still in place. Goldman Sachs still holds their position. Nothing about Ripple or XRP's fundamental infrastructure changed today. Trump imposed tariffs. Markets panicked. That is what happened. If you are considering your position, do not make a multi-year decision based on a single day of macro panic. Give this situation 48 to 72 hours. Watch how the trade negotiation responses play out. Watch April 8th. Then make a calm, informed decision with more information than you have right now. If you are watching from the sidelines with cash, the Fear and Greed Index at 11 has historically been one of the better entry zones for anyone with a longer than 6-month time horizon. Not a guarantee, but a historical pattern worth knowing. And if you are genuinely scared and the stress of watching XRP fall is affecting your daily life, you have probably invested more than you are comfortable losing. That is a lesson worth learning during this moment. Not a crisis. A lesson. My honest final thought. Trump tariffs crashed XRP today. Just like they did before. Just like macro panics always do to risky assets. But XRP recovered from every previous tariff crash. The fundamental thesis is intact. The regulatory framework is stronger than it has ever been. The institutional infrastructure is deeper than it has ever been. Panics end, infrastructure remains. Now I want to hear from you. Do you think this Trump tariff crash is a temporary panic or the beginning of a longer downturn for XRP? Type temporary if you think XRP recovers above $1.50 within 30 days. Type longer if you think the trade war escalates and XRP falls further before recovering. And type buying if today's extreme fear reading is making you consider adding to your position. Drop your answer in the comments right now. I reply to every single comment in the first hour. This is the moment when community discussion matters most because everyone is looking for perspective when the market is panicking. Subscribe and turn on the notification bell right now because April 8th is 5 days away. The SEC remedies brief drops on that date. It will tell every XRP holder exactly how much financial pressure Ripple faces from the final settlement penalty. And combined with this tariff situation, that brief could be the most important XRP news event of the month. You need to be ready when it drops. Subscribe now. Thank you for watching. I will see you on April 8th, and I will see you in the next one.